with fundraising activities by Supervisor Janet Nguyen. She has attracted the attention of the FBI. A contractor who has done work for the county says FBI officials contacted him with questions about the supervisor. The source said that agents had a wide-ranging discussion about Nguyen's fundraising in connection with county contracts. Another contractor who had a $25 million contract from the county for work at John Wayne Airport in 2009 told Voice of OC that he was also contacted by the FBI about Nguyen's fundraising efforts. For her part, the supervisor says that she's an aggressive fundraiser but has stayed within the law. Nguyen says that no one from the FBI has contacted her. It can be a slippery slope when you're asking for money from people who have business before the county. Rick, we want to start with you on this topic.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure how much solace she should have that the FBI hasn't contacted her yet. If they're talking to a lot of other people, that could mean she's got a big target on her. Having said that, she makes a point. Aggressive. That's the issue. How aggressive? You know, a certain amount of aggressiveness is just good aggressive fundraising. Another level of aggressiveness means the FBI may be filing charges against you. So that's what we'll find out. In her defense, she says she's a working class supervisor. She's not independently wealthy. She needs to get contributions. Lots of politicians do. This does remind me in a way of another politician in town, Larry Agron, who also is a very aggressive fundraiser and has seemed to stay on the legal side of fundraising for all these many years. We'll see. You know, the reason people should care about this is because of the issue with CalOptima, which is this organization that dispenses billions of dollars of money, to people who need health care. Mm-hmm. And there was this basically a takeover of the board where one group went out, a new group came in. Janet is aligned with this new group that came in. The question is, were there favors traded for influence? That's what we'll find out.
You know, it's you got it partially right as to the Larry Agron analogy, although Larry would be the one of the reasons that Janet uses as a justification for why she has to be an aggressive fundraiser, because Larry Agron is an aggressive self-funder. He loaned himself $500,000 in a losing campaign for mayor. Janet apparently doesn't have that kind of money available to her, so she uses that as a justification for her aggressive fundraising style. You know, we don't have enough information to know whether there's really any meat on the bone here, but the piece of this that doesn't look good for her, apart from the fact that she is being investigated by the FBI, and they haven't, by the way, bothered to contact her while they do the work that they're doing, is that, number one, she's becoming the object of law enforcement interest these days. She was the object of interest and criticism by our own grand jury, which is a law enforcement vehicle to some extent, whether it's civil and or criminal occasionally. And now she's being investigated by the FBI, an agency which has an awful lot of things to do other than investigate rumors of political impropriety. Now, I don't want to read too much into what they know. We don't know what they know, and we know even less from a couple of people who have been interviewed. We're not seeing anything here yet that sounds like it's criminal or even remotely criminal. But Janet needs to get a lesson from somebody in how you go about conducting damage control, because her comments in response to this tend to reinforce the perception that is created by the fact that she's investigated and criticized by the grand jury for improprieties, that the FBI is investigating her potentially for criminal improprieties. And her response to that is to say, well, I'm an aggressive fundraiser. Right. Not good. Not good. The other thing, and then I know Rick or Mike wants to chime in on this, is that she needs to understand the poor appearance that it gives when she says, as she has, that she's contacted vendors who do business with the county. Now, I know as a former elected official and in a city that did business with lots of vendors, there's no reason as a policymaker for you to contact those vendors unless you're contacting them to ask them for something. Mm-hmm. And so it gives a very poor appearance. I wasn't there. I don't know what the content of the conversation was, but she's admitting she's an aggressive fundraiser. She's admitting that she's contacting vendors. The FBI is investigating her for some kind of impropriety that seems to have something to do with money raising. Janet needs to get a clue here and needs to get it pretty quickly.
Yeah, let's make it emphasize that point. Nobody really knows what went on. I mean, if it were easy to investigate these things, it wouldn't take the time and money that it does. So, you really don't want to rush to judgment with respect to anybody. I mean, elected officials too. They've got rights, and I think we all need to give them the benefit of the doubt. What fascinates me about these investigations, and we have seen them in this county before. You hear rumors, you hear folks talking about federal investigators, prosecutors, FBI, looking into improprieties. And then things go quiet, right? And they go quiet for a long time. These investigations take an enormous amount of time. And then what happens is either it just completely dies, or from out of nowhere, somebody ends up in cuffs, walking the perp walk. So who knows where this is going to go? But when the wheels of federal prosecution start churning, something potentially serious is on its way, and I think we need to be keeping our eye on this.
Mike raises a point that I want to jump off on here, because Janet Nguyen is termed out of running again for supervisor, which means she'll probably run for some other office. Anybody who might be planning to run against her, or some segment of the Republican Party who might be planning to run a candidate against her, already has all they need for that glossy campaign advertisement, which will have at the top Supervisor Nguyen to be investigated by the FBI. It makes this story smell a little. For a second reason, perhaps like most people here, I've been interviewed by the FBI before involving political stories, and normally when you're interviewed by a real FBI agent who presents their credentials to you, they tell you not to tell anybody that you've been interviewed. Now, I'm not sure it's criminally actionable if you go ahead and broadcast it like this. Janet, in this case, may actually be the one following the law. That is, she may be under investigation and she knows it, but she's been told not to tell anybody. The other thing which is curious about this is, why does it always have to be, in this county, the FBI? We do have, don't we, a district attorney.
That's right.
And we do have laws which are enforceable by the district attorney. As well, in this state, we have an attorney general. And yet, whether it's Mike Corona or now Janet Nguyen, and I don't mean to compare the two of them, but two fairly high-profile individuals, for some reason, we need to involve the federal government in investigating our own dirty laundry. Why is the district attorney unwilling or incapable of doing these kinds of investigations on their own and actually getting to a point where there's some resolution? Because there'll never be a headline that says, Janet Nguyen cleared by the FBI. Even if she is.
We'll never hear it.
Correct.
We're moving on to...